What is happening, everybody? My name's Seven and welcome to a Ghost Recon Wildlands video. Now in today's video I'm going to be helping you decide whether or whether not to purchase the Fallen Ghost DLC for this game. I've played it a lot and a lot of my friends have also played it extensively, so in this video I will cover everything I possibly can think of so that you guys have an overview of literally everything. I won't give any spoilers away in regards to the actual missions etc. in the game itself. I'll just state what you can actually be involved with as a player. So the DLC, I would overall rate it, let's just begin with an actual rating of 7. Yes, I'm 7 and I'm rating it 7. I would say I rate it really high. In comparison to something like Narco Road, I would rate that as a 4. So you can see there's an improvement between the DLCs, which is a question I've been asked quite a lot. Which DLC is better? Blatantly it is Fallen Ghost, and to be honest, Fallen Ghost plays just like how the main game should really play itself, and I've heard that quite a lot from you guys in the comments. So first of all, when you land in the DLC, you're faced with the dilemma of your first mission. Now within this first mission, you are provided the crossbow very early on, which was one thing that was leaked a long time before the DLC came out, and it is one of my favourite weapons to use. So in this situation, you get shot down the helicopter, you land, and if you haven't seen it, there is a trailer on my channel which shows this cinematic, etc. I think about 20,000 people have watched it so far, so go and check that out if you want to see it and you haven't already got the DLC to decide whether you like the start to the game. Now in this you're also introduced to the enemies that you come across within the actual game itself, and there are 4 different types of enemies that we have never came across before. Of course you have the standard rebels, which will be found when you're driving around, and they'll be also protecting things like certain statues or certain locations like towns or outposts, so they are already still in the game. And once again you also have the same forces such as the Unidad, so you have those 2 that carry over from the both DLCs and from the main game. But the new enemies, the Los Extranjeros, those guys are so bloody crazy. Now the great thing about these enemies is that they are all very conjoined. So say for example you have the Heavy, he's a juggernaut, and basically the only way to kill this guy is with a headshot. You cannot kill him any other way. You then have the elite snipers, so these guys will one-shot you if you have your difficulty on a decent level. If not, you can take a couple of rounds, but they use the BFG 50A, which isn't actually a sniper rifle. In real life it's an anti-material rifle, which was stated by the people in my comment section below. So everything that these guys do is just ridiculous. They're so powerful. You then have jammers, so these guys walk around with a jammer on their backpack, so it's a transportable pain in the ass. Basically these guys make things so much harder, especially at nighttime. If you ever come across a jammer in the middle of a mission at nighttime, I would say this is practically impossible, and it's at that point you probably need your brightness on your screen very high, or you know, this is where we should have maybe had like a torch or a light or something that our character could have used to, you know, move around in the darkness, because with the jammer you lose all ability to go into night vision and thermal, and obviously at night you cannot see a single thing. So killing these jammers are massively important. You need to take these guys out. And finally you have the covert ops. Now the covert ops are unbelievably powerful. They're hidden snipers that basically they snipe you with their crossbow. They don't actually have a sniper rifle, and they are completely hidden. I mean, they've got a very light glow about them. They're practically invisible, and you find them in the jungle themselves, sneaking around, basically hitting you every so often. These guys will also knock you down very quickly. So they're the enemies that you find within the actual DLC. Now talking about difficulty when going against enemies, overall throughout the DLC it is a rather difficult DLC, and it is how many, like I said before, many people have said this should have been how the main game actually was. Now if you push your difficulty up to the extremes, you will find this to be extremely challenging, and you will have to take as very much time as you possibly can to like move around and get the kills that you need. It would take a lot of stealth. Now even on a lower difficulty, this game is still very hard, and I think that is a very good challenge. It makes it last a lot longer. Certain things that make it more difficult, obviously these 4 new types of enemies, they work very well with one another, but also the weapons you utilize as well. Some of them are very OP, others aren't so OP, and others are just reskins. Now when it comes to these weapons, people were agitated about the fact that when I did the weapon video I showcased 19 of the weapons, not including pistols. A lot of them were just reskins of weapons that we've already used in the main game. Now the great thing was that not just like in Narco Road the DLC, they only gave you reskins, but in this they actually provided us with new weapons. So in this you will get these new weapons. Now to begin with, you have the MDR, which is a new addition in this DLC. We didn't have this in the main game, and you can't transfer it to the main game, which is a shame in itself. It is a very nice looking weapon. It reminds me very much of the TAR. You also have an AK-47 styled weapon, which is the R4, which is another assault rifle, which we also cannot get in the main game. It's annoying that we can't transfer these over to the main game, however, at least we do have new weapons within this DLC. We also have the PDR, and you can also get the specialist version of this as well if you really want to, but I prefer the default standard that you can also get. For sniper rifles, we have the BFG-50A, which I mentioned before. This is the absolute insanity of a weapon. It is a ridiculous anti-material weapon. It is so bloody powerful, and it is more powerful than the HTI in my personal opinion. It's very good, this sniper. And the other sniper rifle we were provided with as well is the PSG-1. This is a very nice sniper rifle. It reminds me a little bit of the MSR. However, a lot of people have said that when using this, it just makes them miss the MSR. So it is a nice weapon, but overall I probably would be staying away from this because it's just not my kind of style of sniper. Other than that, you've got two crossbows. You've got the Phobos and you've got the Demos, and these two are great, but one is just with a sight and one is without. With skills, you can also upgrade these to make the bolt explosive. So that is pretty epic. Then your melee as well is shifted from just a hand attack to a knife attack, and there are 4 different types of attacks you can do based upon how you approach your opponent and also what you're holding at the time. So if you're holding a weapon, it will make a slightly different version of the attack. With skills, you can also regain health, etc. from doing such close combat kills. Now in regards to skills, when you land in Fallen Ghost, you're level 30, you don't have to worry about re-leveling up, but you have 5 extra levels you can go up within the DLC, and you're also gifted all of the skills from the main game already. So they've introduced a bunch of new skills that you can use when you land in Fallen Ghost. So when it comes to the skills, we have the explosive bolt, which is used to create insane amounts of spread damage. You can fire this bolt into groups of enemies and it will cause ridiculous amount of damage. You have the flash drone, which is a flying flashbang. You can use this to flash multiple enemies at one time. You have oxygen, which allows the ghost to stay underwater for longer periods of time while doing stealth swimming, so obviously this helps you infiltrate certain bases. It's very handy. You also have drone vengeance, which basically means that when your drone dies, it will trigger an explosion upon that destruction. So say for example you get spotted and it gets shot, it will bang and it will kill everyone within the area. Now like I said before, using the combat knife, when you use the skill Bloodlust and you upgrade this allows you in close combat to regain ammo and health by getting close combat kills using the knife on enemies. If you want to turn your drone into a sharpshooter, you can turn it into an attack drone. The more you upgrade this, the more ammo capacity you have in your drone, so you can use this to take out certain enemies, like say for example snipers in towers. You have reaction marking, which means if you ever get shot by an opponent anywhere around you and you have your HUD turned on, what will occur is that the enemy that is shooting you will automatically be tagged. You won't have to see them, they will just tag on the map, which is great when you're going against the covert ops who are invisible. You have bulletproof, which gives you a complete damage immunity to a few bullets just before you're about to die, so you can use this to help you stay a little bit alive slightly longer. Once you've completed all of these, you'll be able to unlock the epic skill, which improves your weapon reload time, which is just fast reload, but you'll have to unlock all the other skills before you get this epic skill. Now all of the skill points required to unlock all of these skills can be found on the map. Now the map that is being utilized for Fallen Ghost is the right hand side at the top section of the original main map. You have 3 precincts, which are the northern precinct, the western and the eastern. Now in each of these areas you can collect your skill points, you do your side missions, your main missions, you collect your weapons, etc. And as we know them, they are Villa Verde, Akaru and the Caymans. Now these 3 areas are very rainy, so obviously this makes the game a little bit more immersive, and when you get into the game itself you will notice how often there is storms. It really adds to the atmosphere of the DLC. Wherever you are in the game, it tends to be thunder and lightning and rain, and that does help with the stealth factor that you need to take down the types of enemies you're going against within the DLC. When moving around the map and utilizing all these different weapons and all of the skills, etc., you have the main missions that you have to do, but then you also have side missions. Now, you have 4 new types of side missions which replicate similarities to what you used to do in the main and in Narco Road. So you have sabotage, which basically means you have to go into an area, into the compound. It is very difficult in solo, but it is definitely achievable, especially very difficult when you have your difficulty settings much higher. What you have to do is sabotage 4 laptops, so you go around and you tag all of them and destroy them, and you will then complete that side mission. You then have Headhunter. You're provided the details of an individual within this area. You have 10 minutes to go and find them. You have to go and find them and then go kill them. They tend to be dressed like a civilian, just you know that the details, and you've got to make sure you pick out the right person and take them out, so you become a hitman. We then have Tower Cast, which is very much like the Rebel radios. You go to these towers, you start them by just interacting with a handset. You interact with this and then you get swarms and swarms of enemies, and it is very difficult. Everything ranging from the vehicles to the helicopters to the soldiers to the snipers. It is very, very difficult indeed. You have to defend the tower. Based upon which one you do, there is a slightly difference in the timer, so you might have to wait 3 to 5 minutes depending on which area you go to and which one you trigger, but you have to basically defend the area, and once you've stayed alive, you defended it, you will then win this side mission. And finally, you have Save the Rebel VIP. You go into a compound, you have to take everybody else out, and there will be a VIP locked up in a cage similar to the rebels that you find around the map in games when you're going into, say, for a base example. So you have to go up and you have to take this person, take all the guys out, and then grab this VIP and then extract them, and this is what you have to do in that side mission. Other than that, when it comes to the main story itself, there are a large set of missions that you can complete, and if you sit and grind on a reasonable difficulty, you can complete this within about a day. So the missions don't last very long, so it's better to have an increased difficulty and take your time with the missions and really enjoy them to make the DLC last. However, once you've completed it, like I say, there are so many different areas you can explore and new little additions you can go and have a look at. We're all hunting for Easter eggs as well, so there is enough to be done in this, but it's debatable whether it's actually worth the money that people invested. I think mostly people are going to be agitated about how bad Narco Road was in comparison to the expectation for that. Everyone was very hyped, but ultimately, like I say, it's up to you guys. Let me know your thoughts, your experiences. Let each other know what you think is good and bad about this DLC in the comments section below. But I would recommend purchasing this, whether you have it with the DLC that came with the season pass, or you purchase it separately for the $15 or £15, depending where you are in the world. DLC overall, I would rate it as a 7. There is so much stuff we can do in this, but it's ultimately down to the rate how fast you travel through the DLC. I hope this video has helped you decide whether you should buy this DLC. If it has, then absolutely awesome. Let me know in the comments and I'll speak to you there. My name's Seven, also known as Martin Lee Wood. Like and comment and all that you love. Take care of yourselves. Peace.